Hello, hello, hello. I come to you today on the 8th of July, 2012. This is your main, the real Bill Real. The title of this video is Trayvon's Parents Exposed. The reason why I've taken the time to expose his parents, Trayvon Martin and Sabrina Fulton, is due to the fact that what they are doing is criminal. Now, before you go and run to their defense, hear me out, because I have a few points to make that I think if you have common sense, you'll begin to understand what's going on. One of the points of many that I would like to make is something that Sabrina Fulton has said from the beginning, and that is when she said that he was a good kid and that he respected authority. Good kids do get into trouble. I myself got into trouble. I never punched a school driver. I never stole jewelry. I never ever thought about bringing any type of drugs to school. And I would have never thought about attacking a neighborhood watch person. But when she says that, she is lying, because when the child was killed, the child was serving a 10-day suspension. To show you how dishonest she and Trayvon Martin and Benjamin Crump are, this is what was told to us at first. The first time we were told that he was on suspension due to excessive tardies. The second time that they were asked about the 10-day suspension, we were told that the suspension was due to Trayvon being found in an unauthorized area in the school. It wasn't until police turned over information that we were able to find out that the jewelry that was found in his book bag, which was 12 pieces of women's jewelry, one watch, and one flathead screwdriver, had been turned over to the police. Then we were able to find out that he had been suspended for 10 days. And coincidentally, it was on Twitter that we were able to find out 5 days before he was shot. His brother, I said the other day his cousin, I apologize. It was his brother who sent the tweet to him. Hey, you didn't tell me that you had swung on a bus driver. So for Sabrina Fulton to say that he was a good kid and that he respected authority, you be the judge. Another thing that I want to bring up is Richard Kurtz. Richard Kurtz is the funeral director from Miami who prepared Trayvon's body. And he went on record and said that there were no injuries consistent with Trayvon hitting someone before he died. There are reports that he had bloody knuckles and that there was torn skin, broken skin, I apologize, on his knuckles. That's another lie. Another thing that I found to be a bit suspicious, okay, this is not a huge coincidence, but Tracy Martin claimed the night that this happened that he thought that his son had left his 14-year-old stepbrother, if you will, at home to go to the movies and had turned his cell phone off. As I stated before, what type of father allows his son to wander off and go wherever he wants to go on a 10-day suspension? When I was growing up, had you been on suspension for 10 days, first you got a whooping, okay? And second, you weren't going anywhere. I would have been in my room without the television. So I found it a bit odd that Tracy Martin returned with his girlfriend from a night out of dinner and a game, but had no idea what had happened in the apartment complex. Another thing that is suspicious is Dee Dee, the supposed girlfriend, who originally was 16 years old, and now we've come to find out that she is 23 years old. This happens, but how many 23-year-olds do you know who date 17-year-olds? And if you listen to her statement, she does not sound truthful. There are things that she's saying that sound as if she is being coached. She does not appear, just by listening to her, to be a credible witness. And I would really like to see her take the stand in the event that this does go to trial. It should not, but I really would like to see that happen. If you notice Tracy Martin is acting as if he knows more than he's letting on. If you notice his mannerisms, if you notice the words that he says, if you look into his eyes, they reveal to you a man who really knows what happened. I would venture to say that Tracy Martin was probably home when this happened. I don't believe he went anywhere. I believe that Sabrina Fulton is in denial. I believe that she knows all about Trayvon Martin. She knows about his behavior at school. She knows about fights. She knows about many things that she wanted to have sealed from the public. Now, if you're going out trademarking, I am Trayvon, justice for Trayvon, you have and his image on t-shirts, wouldn't you want people to know about him? Wouldn't you want people to know who they're worshiping? Because don't get this twisted. This is worship. Okay? But if you had things that you wanted to hide, the first thing you would do is seal off his school records and his criminal records and say that it's irrelevant. But at the same time, you want everybody to take a look at George Zimmerman's run-in with the undercover cop at the bar, getting into a tussle match with him, and the domestic violence arrest that never went anywhere. Let me tell you, from a man's point of view, I have been arrested for domestic violence, for suspicion of domestic violence. So, and I never hit the individual, never pushed the individual. So I'm making my point that just because a man was arrested for suspicion of domestic violence or even for domestic violence, it does not mean that the person is violent. But I'm making the point that just as they want to bring up things that happened in his past, they do not want to do the same thing for their son. They do not want you to know about him, his true character, what he was really about. Why would you go so far to just remove a simple fight video where he's not fighting? He's being the referee. They have lots to hide. The story that they're saying about George Zimmerman hunting down their son is a lie. How would you know that George Zimmerman hunted your son down if you were not there? You have a 17-year-old football player running away with a 2-minute head start. How was George Zimmerman able to catch him? If he was so terrified and wanted to go home to get the Skittles to his little brother and watch the basketball game. Common sense, people. Just use common sense. He had about 500 feet to run from the time that he was spotted by George Zimmerman. A 17-year-old football player can run 500 feet in about 2 minutes. Please understand one of the reasons why Trayvon Martin is able to get so much pull. He's a Mason. So is Ben Crump. So is Al Sharpton. So is Reverend Jesse Jackson. So is Barack Obama. And all of the other people that you've seen involved in this situation. All of the people that go on these talk shows and they defend Trayvon Martin and Sabrina Fulton and Trayvon Martin. All of these people are either Eastern Star or they're Masons. If you don't believe me, do your research. Another thing that I want to bring up is the fact that Trayvon Martin and Sabrina Fulton stated before George Zimmerman was wrongly arrested that they did not need a conviction. They just needed an arrest. Now you tell me, what grieving parents would say that they did not need a conviction if they felt that it was something wrong. I tell you why they said that they didn't need a conviction. It's because they're setting everything up for a civil case. Yes, they plan to sue civilly. Because they know that they have no chance of winning the legal case. You also answer me this. What mother goes out and trademarks, "I am Trayvon and justice for Trayvon," 2 months after this happens? Does this sound like a grieving mother? Or does this sound like someone who's profiteering? Who's simply using this situation as an opportunity to get money. Garbage bags of money. I'm sorry, trash cans that they pass around at churches. And they collect money at the rallies as well. I had some people on a fellow YouTuber's channel, 1814 Drady Head, I believe is his name. Some people were asking me where I got my information from. I get my information from the internet. And just to give you guys a little tip on how I get my information, you may want to type in the information backwards to Google. That's another story, but I just want to let you know that that's how most of the information is hidden on the internet. There you have it. I just let the cat out of the bag. One of the cats. It's all there. I'm not the only person saying what I'm saying. And yes, I was one of the first people to sign the petition for the arrest and prosecution of George Zimmerman for the killing of Trayvon Martin. Because I was ignorant. I was going on what I had been told. Janelle Monáe sent me a message asking me to get involved. And I did. And I told many people to get involved. But slowly, evidence began to leak out. And I began to understand what was really going on. That I was thinking with a checker's mind while the left was playing chess. Why was Trayvon Martin found with no ID? If I'm not mistaken, you can receive a restricted license at 15. This is the license where you have to have an adult sitting in the passenger seat, and you're not able to drive, I believe, before 6 in the morning or after 6 at night. And once you become 16 in the state of Florida, I believe it's mandatory that your child has to be put on the insurance. So I find it hard to believe that he was not interested in driving a car. Something to think about. Sabrina Fulton lied when she told everyone at the meeting in Sanford, Florida, when the mayor played the 911 calls for her, of George Zimmerman screaming as her son was attacking him. She knows that it's not the truth. And the coincidence in all of this is that Tracy Martin, when asked if it was Trayvon's voice screaming, he simply said no. The thing about this is that I really believe that Tracy Martin has a good heart. I believe that Sabrina Fulton has a good heart, but they're entrapped. They have linked themselves with Benjamin Crump and company. And his law firm, the other 6 lawyers, okay, 6. You don't need 6 lawyers if you're telling the truth. But they have created a lie for profiteering. That's what this whole entire case is about. That's the reason why Sereno didn't arrest him. Sereno told Tracy Martin, hey, I'm going to have George Zimmerman back in a couple of more times, and I'm going to wait for him to lie. I'm going to let him hang himself. So he did that. He brought George Zimmerman back. And he brought him back again. And guess what? There were no contradictions. His story checked out. When they took this case to Wolfinger, the prosecutor, Wolfinger told them, I'm not touching it. You have problems with the case. You have holes in your case. I don't want it. We're not going to be able to have a slam dunk. In fact, I think this is the lingo that was used. If you don't have a case, don't bring it here. So all of this is a result of Sabrina Fulton lying, Ben Crump lying, creating this whole, oh, he stalked him down and he killed him in cold blood. Really? So John didn't see anything. So the other witnesses who were out witnessing this, the 13-year-old boy who saw Trayvon Martin on top of a bloody George Zimmerman, is lying. So the cuts that are on the back of George Zimmerman's head, he created those cuts in 2.5 minutes before the police got there. He was able to break his own nose with his own gun. He was able to inflict all of these injuries on himself. Are you guys now beginning to understand how unrealistic this sounds? How improbable this is? Who would want to do this to themselves? It's simple if you look at it, what's happening. If you listen to lies, you won't be able to wrap your brain around it. You'll be like most YouTubers saying, I don't understand. George Zimmerman, he got born again. He keep bonding out. They can't keep him in jail. He's not supposed to be in jail. He was never supposed to be arrested. You don't have evidence to support a murder too. Angela Corey knows that. Ben Crump knows that. The judge knows that. Mark O'Mara knows that. Everybody involved in this case knows that there is no proof that murder 2 took place. The only thing that keeps the fire going is ignorant people. If you don't do your research, you'll believe what the media is telling you. You'll believe what the left is selling you. Because they want you to believe that George Zimmerman was this big bag racist that hunted down little poor sweet Trayvon, who was just walking home. He just couldn't get away from Zimmerman because Zimmerman could just run faster than anybody else. He just overpowered him. He just shot him just because he just didn't like black people. But he made 911 calls in the past. He spotted people in the past. He didn't approach any of them. He didn't shoot any of them. So why did he feel the need to shoot Trayvon that day? These are the things that you have to ask yourself. Think logically. As long as you're thinking with emotion, oh, I feel so bad for Sabrina. I feel so bad for Tracy Martin. Oh, they're never going to have their son again. As long as you're thinking in that type of mentality, then you'll believe whatever the media has to sell you. You'll believe that George Zimmerman is bad. You'll believe crap like, oh, he wanted to take off, $130,000 of other people's money. You'll believe that, oh, he just wanted to be so dishonest. He and his wife, he just can't be trusted. His credibility shot. That's what Ben Crump is saying. Ben Crump is constantly saying this because that's his only stance. That's the only thing that he's standing on. Is to get you to believe that you can't trust George Zimmerman, who has been telling the truth from the beginning. Sabrina Fulton stated that she thinks that it was an accident. Why would she state that she thinks it's an accident? Why would you ever say that? Saying that she thinks that things got out of control and that they were not able to turn back the clock. How did things get out of control? Now let's talk about their motive. And when I say their motive, we're talking about Sabrina Fulton, Tracy Martin, Ben Crump, and company. This is old news. This can be researched if you'll take a look on the internet. Go to Google, just type in everything you want. It's there, okay? Sabrina Fulton has made at least $70,000 off of the trademarks. This is old news. This is about 2.5 months old. For the I Am Trayvon and the Justice for Trayvon slogans. Okay, that go on keychains, that go on T-shirts, what have you. Okay, I think there's even videos that they're attempting to sell. They, meaning both parents, have been on tour. A worldwide tour, holding rallies from state to state to other countries, to anybody that will have them. And it's no coincidence that they're able to move as freely as they're able to move. For one, the whole entire world is Masonic, okay? Every leader, preacher, whoever you know, politician or whatnot is a Mason, okay? That's just a fact. So they're opening doors for their brother, Tracy Martin. I do not have any facts to back this up, but I'd be willing to bet that at $68,000 for the housing authority in Miami, I believe that Sabrina Fulton is probably an Eastern Star as well. There are pictures on the internet of them holding trash cans. Just little small waste baskets that they pass around at churches, at rallies, that are full of money. If you take a look at one of their website states to you that this is not a charitable contribution. When that is stated, that means that the money goes into the pockets of Sabrina Fulton and Tracy Martin. If you think for 1 minute that George Zimmerman has made more money than Sabrina Fulton and Tracy Martin, you believe that Osama bin Laden knocked down the Twin Towers and was buried at sea. You simply do not get it. You have George Zimmerman, who has raised I would say conservatively, probably $300,000. Okay, there was a new figure that came in 2 days ago where his lawyer admitted to an additional $20,000 that was raised, and at one point there was $225,000 that had been received by that website that was set up originally by George Zimmerman. If you are receiving financial contributions from celebrities, politicians, rallies, you're going on talk shows, and you're receiving all types of monies, you've made well more than $200,000, than $300,000. The estimates are in the millions. I venture to say that they've probably made somewhere around $5 to $10 million. It will all come out in the wash because the IRS is watching them. Sabrina Fulton shamelessly asked for donations to the Justice for Trayvon Martin Foundation on Mother's Day. The problem that I have with that is, as I said before, she's not in need of justice. She and Tracy Martin have already received millions of dollars in support and will continue to. Her son was not a martyr. He did not die for a cause. He died because he was in the act of felony assault. There are 3 website / entities created to collect money in the name of Trayvon Martin for Sabrina Fulton and Tracy Martin. Don't believe me? Go research it. So while you're complaining about George having 1, they have 3. And I'd be willing to bet that they're probably receiving anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 per day. Egregious. This whole entire case is shameless. It's about greed. It's about an opportunist by the name of Ben Crump, Sabrina Fulton, and Tracy Martin. They do not seek justice. They only want money. This entire case, this entire story is about bereavement exploitation. And it's about time that we, the American people, wake up and stop being fools for Sabrina Fulton, Tracy Martin, and Ben Crump and Company. This is about overexposure. They have made trouble for an innocent man, and they are laughing all of the way to the bank. This is evil. This is not righteousness. They were never entitled to an arrest because the evidence suggests that the shooting was a result of self-defense. It is financial and political profiteering. And I will not stand for it. Leave your comments at the bottom. Thank you for your time. You have a great day.